Okay, so have you ever thought like, man, I wish I could just hit some kind of mental reset button and just become like a totally new you know? Swap out all those little habits that are kind of holding you back for the ones that just scream like success. Well, get this. Today's deep dive is all about that. Identity shifting.
Yeah, and what I think is so fascinating about this whole concept of identity shifting is that it's not just like some mystical thing.
Right.
You know, it's really about like taking control. You're intentionally choosing your thoughts, your actions, even your beliefs to become this version of yourself that actually aligns with all those goals you have.
Totally. And to like guide us on this journey, we're going to be diving deep into Nakia Alexander's Money Moves Workbook.
Oh, cool.
And it's not just about like, finances. This workbook really is like a blueprint.
Okay.
It's for building like a whole new you, especially like the you that attracts abundance and success.
I like that, building a whole new you. So it's kind of like a step-by-step guide. It helps you rewire your subconscious. It's helping you shift from that identity that's like keeping you stuck to one that's like, hey, I'm aligned with my dreams. Let's go.
I love that. Okay, so let's like break down how this workbook actually works. Right off the bat, like the first thing is it challenges you to just get real with yourself in this section called Who Are You Now?
Okay.
Why do you think that's like the very first starting point?
I think it's brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of times people try to skip this step and it's so important. It's like trying to build a house on like sand, there's no foundation.
Yeah.
You have to understand like where you are, where you're acknowledging like, okay, what are the things I want to keep? What are my strengths? And what are those little pesky weaknesses that are holding me back?
Totally. It's like taking like personal inventory. But it's not just like identifying the traits. The workbook makes you really think about why you want to leave certain traits behind and carry others forward.
I love that because that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
You're connecting with your deeper motivations. Like it's not enough to just say, I want to be more disciplined. It's like, why does that even matter to you? What will that actually help you achieve?
Oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's like getting to that core desire. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
What's the bigger picture?
Exactly.
Okay, so once you like really have that clear picture of your current self, the workbook is like, okay, now let's shift gears. And it asks you, who do you want to be?
Oh, I love this part.
Right. Why do you think there's such an emphasis on like visualization?
Because visualization is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just like, wishing and hoping. It's about training your brain. You're training it to see your future. Like it's totally possible. And the more clearly you can imagine that, the more your subconscious starts to be like, oh, okay, maybe this can happen.
Right. I've heard it said that like your brain can't actually tell the difference between like something that you're really vividly imagining and something that's actually happening.
That's right.
So like if you keep visualizing.
Yeah, you're creating these new pathways that make it so much easier to be like, okay, I can do this. I'm aligned with that vision.
That's awesome. And like Nakia takes this visualization thing even further in the visualize the end result section.
Okay.
She wants you to get like super specific, like, even imagining like the normal day-to-day details of your life.
I love that. It's like a multi-sensory experience. You're imagining like your perfect morning routine, that feeling when you like crush it at work, or even like what you're wearing.
Right.
And when you have all those details, it makes it so much more real for your subconscious.
Totally. Like you're creating like a movie trailer for your dream life and just playing it on repeat.
Exactly. I love that.
Okay, so this is where I got really intrigued.
Okay.
The what's the plan section. There's this whole concept of a new identity avatar. Can you like explain what that is and why it's so important?
So think of it like a character sketch.
Okay.
You're actually giving this avatar a name.
Oh, wow.
You're picturing what they look like. You're outlining their habits, their routines, even their mindset,
So it's not just like a vague idea. You're literally creating a persona.
You got it. And here's the best part. Nakia says to find real people who already have the traits you want in your avatar. She calls this like social proof.
Oh, interesting. So you're like finding role models who are living the life that you want to create for yourself.
Exactly.
It's so cool.
It's so powerful because it helps you fight those limiting beliefs. Those ones that say, like, oh, you can't do that, or that's not for you.
Yeah.
Because when you see someone else doing it, you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
It becomes so much more believable for yourself.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like proof that, like, hey, my dreams are actually possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is where it starts to feel like less like a fantasy and more like you actually have a plan.
You got it. And when you have this detailed avatar and you've got your social proof, you're really setting yourself up for success.
That makes sense. Okay, so we visualized our future selves. We've got like some real life examples of what that looks like. What happens next?
Well, this is where things might get a little uncomfortable.
Uh-oh.
Because in the next section, limiting beliefs, Nakia's like, okay, time to face those negative thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Those are the worst.
You know, those voices that are like, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't deserve it.
Yeah, everybody has those.
And when it comes to money and abundance, oh my gosh, those beliefs can be so strong.
Mm-hmm.
You might have beliefs like, money's evil, or all rich people are greedy.
Yeah, and you don't even realize how much those are holding you back.
Totally. But the workbook is here to help you. It's got prompts and exercises to help you figure out, like, okay, what are those beliefs? Where did they come from?
Yeah.
And how are they messing with my life?
It's like being a detective for your own thoughts.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it helps you dismantle them.
Okay, so how does it do that? Like, how do you replace those limiting beliefs with more positive ones?
It wants you to challenge the evidence.
Okay.
Like, are all rich people really greedy?
Right.
Are there rich people who do good things with their money?
Mm-hmm.
So you're finding those flaws and those limiting beliefs, and then you can start to be more positive and open to abundance.
Okay, I see. So we've like laid the groundwork, we've visualized our future selves, and we've started to like tackle those limiting beliefs. But how do we actually like put all of this into action?
This is where the identity shifting section comes in, and this is all about action.
Okay.
It's about bridging the gap between who you are now and who you want to be.
So this is where we really get down to business. We have the vision, and now we need the plan.
You got it. The workbook helps you set goals, daily, weekly, monthly goals that were all about your new identity.
So you're breaking those big, scary goals down into smaller steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And to keep you on track, Nakia is all about that daily self-reflection.
Uh-huh.
The workbook has these little prompts to help you be like, okay, how am I doing?
Right.
You can celebrate your wins, figure out where you need to improve.
It's like a built-in accountability buddy.
I love that.
Yeah.
It is. And these prompts aren't just about checking boxes.
Okay.
They're really meant to help you become that new you.
So you're not just changing what you do, but how you think about yourself, too.
Exactly. It's about having that internal dialogue that supports your transformation.
That's cool.
The more you practice thinking and acting like your desired self, the more it becomes a part of you.
This workbook is sounding more and more like a personal transformation toolkit.
It really is. And the best part is, Nakia actually offers a complete identity shift program.
Okay.
It has weekly mentoring, so if you're like, okay, I'm ready for more, you can really dive in.
Oh, so for the people who are like, I'm all in, let's do this, there's a whole program to support them.
Exactly. And don't worry, for those of you who are just getting started, Nakia Alexander's Money Moves Workbook is totally free.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can download it at the link in the description.
Perfect. So you can start your own identity shifting journey today.
Exactly. So welcome back to our deep dive into Nakia Alexander's Money Moves Workbook.
Yes.
We've gone through like the structure, the ideas behind it, but now I really want to see how this stuff plays out in real life.
I know, me too. I'm so curious to hear some like actual examples,
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to understand the exercises and everything, but it's another to actually see how they can like shift someone's financial reality.
Exactly. So let's say like you're someone who's always struggled with spending, like impulse buying. You know you need to save more, but you just can't resist those add to cart buttons.
Oh, yeah, I think we've all been there.
Right.
So how would the workbook help someone like that?
Well, I think the first step would be like to really look at those spending habits, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The workbook has you track your spending for a week or two, and you have to like identify your triggers. Like, is it online shopping? Is it when you're feeling emotional? Is it that you just don't have a budget?
So you're getting like super honest and specific about the pattern.
Exactly, yeah. And then you use that new identity avatar exercise to create a vision of yourself as like a saver.
Okay.
Like what habits would that person have? Maybe they meal prep so they don't do takeout all the time, or they use a budgeting app, or they have that like 30-day rule before they buy something big.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
It's like giving yourself like guidelines.
Yes. And then remember that social proof thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like the workbook wants you to find examples of people who are like killing it with their money.
Oh, right.
So maybe it's a friend who's amazing at budgeting, or like a financial person you follow online,
Yeah.
or even like a character in a movie who's just really responsible.
Okay.
It's about being like, see, this is possible. It's happening.
So motivating.
Right. And as you start like doing these new things and changing your mindset, you actually become that saver identity.
It's not even about willpower anymore. It's just who you are.
That's it. That's so powerful.
Okay, what about someone who's like really struggling with debt?
Mm-hmm.
How could the workbook help them shift their identity to like get to financial freedom?
I think this is where those visualization techniques are so key.
Okay.
Imagine someone who's just like drowning in credit card debt.
Yeah.
They feel trapped, hopeless. So the workbook is like, okay, close your eyes. Imagine life without that debt.
Right.
Like, how would it feel to be free? What could you do?
Yeah. Just even thinking about that must feel amazing.
Right. And when you focus on that vision, your energy starts to shift. You start attracting different things.
Okay.
So we have the vision, but then the workbook is like, okay, now let's make a plan.
Yeah.
It helps you break down that big, scary goal into smaller steps.
Okay.
Maybe it's making a budget or calling your creditors or finding a way to make some extra money.
So it's taking those practical steps, but with that positive vision in mind.
Exactly. And don't forget those daily check-ins.
Right.
That keeps you motivated, helps you celebrate the wins, and adjust if you need to.
Yeah, I love these examples. It really shows how like this workbook can apply to different situations.
Totally.
But what about people who are like struggling with those really deep beliefs about money?
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier, but I'd love to hear like a specific example.
Okay, so let's say someone grew up hearing things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that.
Right.
Those messages can get stuck in your mind and make you feel like there's never enough.
Yeah, so even if they want abundance, those beliefs are holding them back.
Exactly. So the workbook wants them to like really pinpoint those beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they come from? How are they showing up in their life now?
It's like you're a detective for your own mind.
Yes. And then it challenges you to find proof that those beliefs aren't true.
Okay.
Like, are there people who were poor but became successful? Are there wealthy people who are generous?
So you're opening your mind to new possibilities, basically.
Exactly. And when you challenge those limiting beliefs, you start to create a new story about money, a more empowering one.
That's where the whole rewiring your subconscious thing comes in.
Yes. And that's one of the things that Nakia's Complete Identity Shift program is so good for.
Right.
Because that weekly mentoring gives you that extra support when you're dealing with those deeper levels of change.
Like having a coach right there with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've seen how the workbook can help people with spending, debt, and beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
But what about like actually making more money?
Remember social proof. The workbook wants you to look for people who are making the kind of money you want.
Okay, so instead of just wishing for it, you're actively looking for examples.
Yes. And you're not just looking at their income, but their habits, their skills, their mindset. What are they doing? What can you learn from them?
You're like reverse engineering success.
That's it. And then you take that information and make a plan. Maybe it's learning new skills, networking, or starting a side hustle.
If you're matching your actions to your income goals.
Exactly. But, there's a difference between getting inspired and just copying someone else.
Right.
And the workbook talks about that. It's not about following someone's blueprint exactly.
Okay.
It's about using their example to guide you while still being true to yourself.
So it's that balance between inspiration and like your own path.
Yes. And again, those daily check-ins help you stay on track. It's a constant process of learning and growing.
I love these real life examples. It really shows how powerful the workbook can be. But it's not magic, right?
Right. Of course not. It takes effort, consistency, and being willing to get a little uncomfortable as you grow.
Yeah.
But with the right mindset and those tools from the workbook, you can shift your identity and create that financial reality you want.
I love that. So before we move on, I want to remind everyone that Nakia Alexander's Money Moves Workbook is totally free.
Yes.
The link is down below, so check it out.
It's a great resource. And if you're ready for more, Nakia also has her complete identity shift program with weekly mentoring. You can find that link below too.
Awesome. Okay, ready for part 3, where we wrap this all up. So welcome back to the deep dive. We've spent this whole episode talking about Nakia Alexander's Money Moves Workbook.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm starting to really see how powerful this whole idea of identity shifting can actually be.
It really is. It's not just about changing a few habits here and there or learning some new skills.
Right.
It's way deeper than that. It's about actually changing how we see ourselves, our whole relationship with money.
And that can affect every area of our life.
Totally. When you shift your identity to one that's all about abundance and success,
yeah,
you actually start to see opportunities and experiences that you never even noticed before.
It's almost I don't know, you're tuning into a different radio station or something.
Right.
And suddenly the universe is sending you all these signals that match what you're looking for.
Exactly. You become a vibrational match for the things you want.
I love that. One of the things that really stuck out to me in the workbook was how much it focuses on visualization.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think visualization was just, I don't know, kind of like a woo-woo thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I'm realizing it's a really powerful tool.
Oh, totally. It's not just daydreaming,
Right.
It's about really creating a mental picture of that future self.
Yeah.
And feeling it. How does it feel to be that person?
It's almost like you're making a blueprint for your subconscious.
Yes, exactly. And the more details you put in, the more vivid it is, the better your subconscious can get to work.
Oh, that's so cool. And then I love how the workbook also has you find real life examples of people who are already living the way you want to live.
Yeah, that's the social proof part we were talking about.
Right. Yeah.
It's surrounding yourself with proof that what you want is possible.
Totally. It's like saying to the universe, see, it can happen. Other people are doing it.
And then the universe is challenge accepted.
Right. I love that. Okay, so we've talked about visualization, social proof, working on those limiting beliefs.
Right.
But let's get down to action. How does this workbook actually help you take those big dreams and turn them into real steps?
That's where that personalized steps to take section comes in.
Okay.
It's your roadmap. You break down those big goals into smaller ones.
So you don't feel overwhelmed, right? You're just one step at a time.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have those daily check-in prompts that helps you stay accountable, track your progress.
Well, it's like your own personal coach.
And those prompts, they're not just about checking things off a list. Okay. They're about really shifting your mindset, embracing that new identity.
So it's more than just doing the actions. It's about actually changing how you think about yourself.
That's it. It's a whole person transformation.
That's amazing. Yeah. And for people who are okay, I'm ready to take this even further.
Yeah.
Nakia has her complete identity shift program with weekly mentoring.
Yeah, it's great if you want to really go deep.
Awesome. We'll put the details for both the workbook and the program in the show notes, so don't worry about that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Nakia Alexander's Money Moves Workbook, I just want to say, you have the power to be who you've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It starts with a decision. A decision to change your identity.
Yes.
To embrace a new story about yourself.
I love that.
And then, of course, to take action.
Exactly.
And Nakia's workbook is an amazing tool to help you do all of that. And remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. So be kind to yourself, celebrate those wins, and never give up on that vision you have.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.